Hey people, it's EDDBUD here. Today with an update on a shoe that I picked up earlier in the year with my own Earth credits. I'm up to 100 miles in the Nike ALPHAFLY 3, and today I'm going to help answer a very specific question. Should you buy this shoe? Let's get into it. Thanks for tuning in people, it is always appreciated. Help me to reach my dream of 1 million subscribers by hitting that button. It's free of charge, don't you know? Also, you can help the channel to continue to grow by giving this video a thumbs up like, but also dropping us a comment below for the algorithm. Dankeschön. So, reached 100 miles or 160 kilometers in my trusty pair of the ALPHAFLY 3 from Nike. Should you pick up this shoe? Well, I'm going to answer that question for you by the end of this review. This one don't come cheap, 285 Earth credits here in the UK. I actually picked up a UK 11.5 or US 12.5, though I have got another pair of these in a UK 11 as well. I'm keeping those back fresh. That does tell you something about how much I like this shoe over 100 miles. Initially, I really wasn't set on it at all. First long run in it, I had loads of problems, but those have all drifted away over time. I would suggest go true to size with this shoe. I think most people will be fine with their standard Nike size. I did go up a half size purely because I kind of fall in between like an 11 and an 11.5. This one's felt perfectly fine to me, not really too long, and the 11 feels good as well, depending on sock choice. So go true to size, I think you'll be fine. I've been using this shoe mainly in training and for some long runs. I found it a superb leg saving option. It also works for me at practically any effort level as well within training. How has the shoe held up though in terms of durability over the miles? In terms of the upper, well, it's certainly not as bright as it was. I really like the mesh material here on the ALPHAFLY 3. It's really grown on me over 100 miles. It does really stain though. No real signs of wear on it, but it will never be as beautiful as it is when you take it out of the box. The reinforcement, in fact, around the toe box is the worst for staining, so if you're running in some very dirty areas, lots of mud, lots of grime, it's going to get into that mesh, so don't get upset. You do need to treat the knit-like area in the heel with a little bit of care. If you're brushing it, use a very soft bristle brush. You'll snag the yarn back there. It's very easy to do as well, so really take care with these. Now, I did experience some break-in terms of the upper on the ALPHAFLY 3. It does start to flex a little bit, but I found after about 15 or 20 miles it begins to settle down. I have to say it's been exceptionally comfortable within my testing so far. I really like the upper, very comfortable, very containing, though it's still a bit of a chore to put on. You really do need to use that heel tab here to shoehorn yourself in there. It absolutely comes into play on the ALPHAFLY 3. It's practically the only shoe where I've actually felt it's really required to get in. Now, I do get a little bit of bunching in the first initial eyelets here. I think that's mainly due to the fact that you've got that stitched in, very stretchy tongue, but in the half size down pair, I haven't got that issue whatsoever. I think if you've got anything bar a sort of narrow or normal width foot, you might find yourself spilling over the edge here onto the midsole. For most people though, I think you'll be in luck with the fit that's offered here in the ALPHAFLY 3. That's if you can get your foot into the shoe in the first place. I found the lacing on the shoe works very well. I haven't had any additional sort of pain or pressure here on top of the foot. Can't really say I've had any major issues with the fit whatsoever actually in testing. It's been very comfortable even in longer sessions up to like 16 or 18 miles. Never had any heel slip issues or anything. You don't really need to even tighten it up too much over the top there. Don't need too much lace pressure whatsoever. So after 100 miles it's done really well for me. I'll give it a 2.8 out of 3 for the upper, though we do have a few signs of degradation here in the heel, and yeah, you're never going to get it looking fresh again. Midsole, midsole, midsole now. So this shoe really comes into its own as a tool for me across any sort of effort level or distance. It's just supremely comfortable. I think it's a little bit more forgiving than the last couple of versions. Certainly V1 was very aggressive on foot. V2 just felt a bit overblown, but I think we got the original essence back here, but with added comfort. The foam this time around just feels a little bit more rubbery. There's a little bit less of it, if anything, in the forefoot area. It really opens up those air pods, just a little bit less denser than the previous version. You just feel a little bit more engaged. It feels a little less present, I suppose. The forefoot a little bit softer, and the heel really is lovely. You can sink into it like a sofa when you want to, of course. Yes, my initial run in the shoe was a little bit underwhelming, but the rest of the 85 odd miles have been absolutely fantastic and very, very enjoyable. In fact, the shoe's structure seems to have flexed a little bit, and it just feels better and better after each run. Now, I have tried this shoe across a range of different effort levels. I get a lot of people saying,
oh, you have to run really fast to get the best out of that shoe.
Okay, if that's the way you want to look at this shoe, but it doesn't really feel like that to me, and I'm trying to give you my experiences in running in the shoe. Easy or recovery type runs, yes, I'm crazy, I know the price. Well, maybe I'm not crazy, it's my money, I'll use the shoe as I please. You've saved the legs, and if you race the day before, you can slap these on and still get a few recovery miles in, and it really does facilitate that, gets the legs moving again. The ZoomX foam just cradles the foot there, and I found myself being able to run, you know, even after some very hard half marathon or 10k efforts using this shoe. It's the magic midsole. Though for me, it's marathon effort, that's where it's at with this one, and of course, that is what the shoe is kind of been crafted and tailored for. 10-mile effort, for example, with 2 by 3 miles at marathon pace for me, that's like 7 minutes 30 per mile. Just feels like I haven't even run at all. It's quite exceptional. Quite the effect as well in terms of heart rate. The power level required to reach that type of speed was really low for me, helping to facilitate that pace and just achieve consistency within my training, and that to me makes it worth the cash. Would it be my first choice for like half marathon or 10k pace? Certainly not for 5k pace. I feel there are better shoes out there, kind of more suited, I suppose, in terms of the amount of ground feel you've got, because you're not going to get much of that here, obviously. I think top dog for racing like maybe 10k or half marathon for me still is the Asics Metaspeed Sky Paris. Though, when I take on some marathons later in the year and next year as well, I think this shoe will probably be on my feet. I think you've got to consider the Asics Metaspeed Sky Paris is about 208 grams in my UK 11. This clocks in about 271 grams, so there's quite a bit more here. There's more cushion, more squash, but I think the extra bulk there and compression that you'll get is going to be useful in that marathon, and that is really what the shoe's intended for. Now, most importantly, I haven't had any more of that awful arch pain that I had in the initial run. It's just gone away, whether that's the foam compressing a bit, things bedding in, but over those longer efforts, it's been absolutely fantastic. The spectre of that issue is gone in this shoe. I still don't think it's for those people who have very low arches. If you've got like a sort of normal arch there, I think it'll be absolutely fine. On those long run efforts, like 8 minutes per mile, it's just fantastic. You can just steadily drift away, clock the miles off, just a nice stable ride as well, and you can get some more pop out of the shoe if you want to intersperse some of those miles with some faster effort. It's certainly the most stable, enjoyable and exciting ALPHAFLY release so far. Hence why I bought another pair. So it's improved over time in terms of the midsole. I'm going to give it a 2.8 out of 3 after 100 miles. Outsole now. So outsole wise, it's the slight fly in the ointment. We are showing some quite considerable wear here, certainly under the air pods in the outsole rubber. You can see it's worn down quite heavily here, not quite so bad on the medial air pod area, and some of the black rubber here is worn down too pretty quickly. In the heel, not actually so bad. The rubber's held up really well. I've got a little bit of lateral heel drag here. It's not too bad at all though. After 100 miles, I have worn these in some quite wet weather too, and the foam stood up to the test of time. The rubber here is protecting the foam really well, hasn't started to tear or disintegrate. There's lots of life left in these beasts. I think that area here where the rubber's worn down is right on toe off, where I've been a little bit more aggressive at times. Nothing's looking like it's going to fall off or tear away. One area people will probably get upset about is here where we've got this cutout. Some of the paint's peeling off the orange parts. but I don't really look at that part of the shoe when I'm running. A lot of people have asked me about the foam. Oh, it looks really creased. Well, this is what happens to Zoom X. If you get a pair of these shoes, you wear them for a few miles, it's going to look like that. Now, one area I have had to repair is where I got a little tear in the foam back here. Bit of shoe glue and you're good to go. Also helps to keep water from getting into that area of the midsole as well. In fact, I don't remember doing that. I think Beast had bitten the foam or something. I'm going to blame her. The foam will crease up. It looks a little bit like tree bark sometimes, or even like a elephant's leg. Not that I've ever seen an elephant's leg, but you know, I've seen pictures. I certainly can't advise that you use these on anything but like concrete or tarmac road. Please don't run on the trails in these shoes. They're just going to destroy them in no time at all. And I'm talking trails here in the UK where we've got gravel and stones and things like that. It's just not what this shoe's made for. Again, don't expect this shoe to stay pristine. It's not going to do that. Use it as a tool and enjoy it. Don't put it in the glass case like the Fender Stratocasters and the Lamborghinis. Get out there and use it and enjoy it. That's what life's all about. It's certainly my favourite shoe just to throw on and get out there right now. And that's quite amazing to say that about a super shoe. Some of them don't always feel like that. This one feels like a really well put together Volvo estate. It's got some pop there as well when you want it. Workout sessions, long runs, even some recovery, just don't wear it down the pub. Grip's been great and assured. It doesn't really feel too unstable on cornering, though it is quite loud still. Perhaps not as loud as some of the previous versions. I just wish that Nike rubber was a little bit more durable. But then again, I wouldn't buy lots more pairs. After 100 miles, I'm going to give this a nice juicy 2.7 out of 3 for the outsole. We got to talk value now. I mean, this shoe is a colossal price. 285 quid is bonkers, really. Well, at least it's not 450 quid, eh? Is it worth it, though, for the fun and enjoyment that I've had over the past couple of months?
Hell yeah.
Long runs have been very much enjoyed, regardless of how tired I felt, and the strength and endurance that I've gained, or perhaps helped to gain by using this shoe, has got me a couple of PBs or PRs, or whatever you want to call them, over the 10k and half marathon distance. They feel fun to run in, and they gave me a much needed boost in the new year. That's really helped to freshen up my running and enjoyment. I mean, so far it's cost me £2.85 per mile, which is a bit disturbing, isn't it? I mean, if I could get that down to £1.40 a mile, I'll probably feel a hell of a lot better about the situation. So at least another 100 miles till I've completely worn out that rubber. But still, it's a big, big price to pay. Not everybody's going to be able to afford to pick up a pair of these. If you're thinking about it, then just be ready for the fact that, yeah, they are going to deteriorate quickly. Enjoy them while they last. So it's hard to give this one a mega high value score. I do, though, think this is a vast improvement over the V2. It's much lighter, that's for sure. It's back closer to what we had in the V1, only better. I don't think everybody needs a pair, though. If you're entering into some marathon training or perhaps running a marathon and you've enjoyed these in the past, you're going to enjoy this one. So I'm going to give this one a 2.6 out of 3 for value after 100 miles. That's more based on fun and enjoyment that I've got out of the shoe rather than that early wear. And also the slightly wider use case of the ALPHAFLY 3. I didn't think that it was going to be that type of shoe, but it's just so great to get on foot, so reliable and consistent now. I just want to keep on running with it. In fact, I might use these a little bit later just to do some nice easy miles, because they're just so nice and forgiving on my legs. So if you're forking out the cash, just be aware there's some things you've got to put up with this shoe. Once you've broken it in a little bit, I think you'll really enjoy it. So if I've totaled the scores up correctly, after 100 miles, the ALPHAFLY 3 gets a 10.9 out of 12. So a good 90% score there. I think it's worth picking up. I really have changed my mind about this shoe. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the ALPHAFLY 3. Has it worked for you, or was it a bit of a waste of cash? Drop your comments down below. It's musical interlude time. I'm taking you back to 2001. It's like 23 years ago, man. Stephen Malkmus released a debut album called Stephen Malkmus. I remember picking this one up on a lunchtime at my first job after I had finished uni, and I remember putting this one into the CD Walkman and thinking, wow man, this sounds so exotic, such interesting sounds, different sorts of percussion in there, wonderful guitar playing, and this very characterful vocal performance from Malkmus. My favourite on this one is the pirate-inspired The Hook. Some wonderful chuggy guitars here, and percussion that kind of sounds like it could be being performed on a pirate ship. Loads of cool lyrics that are associated with sort of pirate-like behaviour, use of swords and, you know, walking the plank and all that kind of stuff. It's not like a story of somebody that is initially on the ship and then at the end they become the captain of the galleon. Stephen Malkmus, I just can't believe, is so underrated. There's so many brilliant songs, so many great albums. They're all different as well, different approaches. He's had different band members, always with really unexpected guitar sounds and licks, little figures that he plays on the guitar. Nobody else sounds like him. He's very characterful. Go and check this one out. You've probably never heard of it. Stephen Malkmus by Stephen Malkmus. Thanks for tuning in, people. I hope you've enjoyed my views, thoughts, my insight into the ALPHAFLY 3. I don't think I've changed my mind about a shoe so much as I have with this one. I really have warmed up to it. I've totally changed my mind on it. Remember to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Also, drop a comment down below for the algorithm and help us out. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you.